Survey data is like that magical cologne from the movie Anchorman. 60% of the time, they're right every time. Hey guys, it's Kyle with White Collar Wisdom, and today I'm going to talk to you about some of the problems you can run into with surveys and how you can avoid them if you're going to be conducting a survey of your own. I'll keep this really simple today. I'm going to break it up into the three main components that go wrong with surveys, and I'll show you individually how each one of them can impact your outcomes. Number one on this list is going to be sample size. If the sample size is too small, the results can be skewed in one direction or the other. And if the sample size is too big, all we're doing at that point is spending money we didn't need to spend. And just to try to give you some more clarity on what that would look like, let's imagine that we're trying to survey a group of people and we want to know if they either dislike or like a certain feature. So we survey the first 10 people, and person number 2 and person number 4 answer this way, while the other 8 people answer this way. Now, I could easily take this survey right here and say, listen, 2 out of 10 people surveyed feel this way about this particular feature, product, line, whatever, brand, it doesn't matter what it is, but they feel a certain way. 20% is a big number when we're talking about survey data. 20% is like, I should pay attention to this. This is a major factor, right? Would you rather get 100% of your market right, or would you rather only get 80% of it? That's that 20% that we're talking about. So I might make huge decisions, broad sweeping decisions, big changes on something to accommodate those 2 people. But imagine if I had just done more surveys. Let me show you this alternative result. So let's say we have the same result on the first 10, but we ask a total of 40 more people the same questions. And throughout those 40 more answers that we get, we only get 1 that shared commonality with those first 2 that were different than the rest of the data set. Well, now we're looking at a completely different picture. Now we've got 50 answers and we've only got 3 that say that thing. Now instead of 20%, we're talking 6%. 6% is almost something that we could overlook if we're talking about a mass market type of product. So this might be something we have a completely different response to versus that 20%. And here's the thing. We do the exact same survey. We ask the exact same questions. We just ask it to more people. And now to show you how too big of a survey could just be expensive, let's say I continue to ask these questions, and what I find is that my responses are just starting to duplicate over and over and over and over again. And I might have minor fluctuations. Maybe it goes down to 5.8%, maybe it goes up to 6.2%, but all in all, 6% is going to be right about the middle where it ends. Now I have enough data where I can move on. If I continue going past this, I've taken time to tabulate, calculate, compile, put together all this information. I've had to pay somebody to go get these survey answers. I might have even incentivized people to take my survey. Whole nother issue on that one later. But all it's doing at this point is spending more money. We've already got actionable data. We've already got percentages that are true to what the market would be. So we need to move on at this point. Survey area number 2, sample composition. If this composition is too specific or too narrow of a group, we're only going to get similar answers and probably not enough to really act upon. If it's too wide, we're going to get the so what data, as I call it. And I'll give you an example of these here. So too narrow looks like this. Let's say that I know that a majority of my sales, let's give that a number. Let's say 60% of my sales come from this demographic, right? Age this, gender this, geographic location this. I know that 60% of my clientele looks just like this on paper objectively, right? So what I do then is I go and I survey those people, and wouldn't you know it, they love everything about the product. Well, it's kind of like, of course they do, like that's who's already buying your product. So when we focus on too narrow of a group, what we risk doing is, remember, that's 60% of your group. So you're thinking, this is the most common knowledge I'm going to get. This is going to be the most valuable data possible. 40% of your buyers are not in that group, almost half. You have made a huge mistake. Our example before, we were worried about 20% versus 6%. That's a 14% spread. We're talking about right now a 40% region that we are not even surveying, and they could be drastically different. And that's why when we focus so much on a certain group, we can miss a lot of stuff around us that might be very valuable to us. So we want to make sure that we're not focused too much on one specific set of our customers. Now, if the criteria is set too wide, like we don't have any filters whatsoever, anybody can take this survey and we're just going to compile those results and act as if they matter, that's a big problem too. And here's why. If you don't set any kind of quality control on who is giving you data, you're getting it from people who may not matter at all. Here's what I mean by that. If you're surveying people about the certain features for a luxury car, you're only really going to need to know the opinions of people who would potentially buy that luxury car, have the means to do so and the inclination to follow through on it. We don't need to survey somebody who rides a bike to work about what they think about this feature on a luxury car. That's kind of like a, so what? Okay, this guy who will never buy our product likes these things. Who cares? Why in the world would we change anything to cater to somebody who will never walk into one of our showrooms and buy this car? And that's kind of what it is with too wide of a criteria. You have to make sure you have a general idea of who your market is. Last thing we're going to cover today is going to be survey design. I'm going to focus specifically on written surveys that are either emailed, mailed, or issued by hand to somebody and then collected by the same method or whatever. So here are some of the things that you can run into with survey design. Too many which or what questions and not enough why-based questions. Not using response options like don't know, no opinion, or not applicable. So to address that first part about too many whiches and whats and not enough whys, it is just as important to know why, maybe even more important to know why someone wants that feature than just knowing if they do or do not want that feature. The reason being, this type of data can give you insight into future features and future parts and products and all sorts of different things that you can add to accessorize whatever the product you already have is. And that's why you want to get the why. You want to understand the reason behind someone's purchase for something or inclination towards a certain option or brand so that you can improve yours along the way without doing a new survey every single time you want to run some new idea out there. Now, the last part of not enough use of don't knows and not applicables. If you get a survey that says, rate your opinion on the following items as follows, strongly disagree is a 1 and strongly agree is a 5. And in the middle, they put 3 as neutral, right? That's fine, but neutral is a feeling in itself. Neutral is different than not applicable. Not applicable means I don't have an opinion on something. Neutral means, I know it's there. I'm okay with it. It's okay. I'm fine with it. That's completely different than it doesn't apply to me. I have no opinion about that. I didn't even know it existed, whatsoever. So we want to make sure we always give people the I don't know or not applicable or doesn't apply option so that we can take that out of the rated data responses and not even include it in the average calculations. It's going to be more valuable that way. Hope this video was helpful. Good luck out there with your surveys. Thanks again for watching White Collar Wisdom.